Welcome to J Jekyll. I am J Jekyll. Just want to do like a little video kind of talking about my crochet obsession right now. I am most likely ADHD artist, and so I bounce around to a lot of different things. Like I have a sketchbook tour previously, and I've done some other stuff, mostly deleted all of it, but I do a lot of like painting and all sorts of other junk, but I haven't done very much of it lately because you have to like have a space to do it, and I kind of just have this one little corner to work with, so like bringing out a bunch of paints and things is not the greatest when you're like, this is my computer, I have to work here, and I have like 6 cats in this house, and like having to be hyper vigilant to make sure I don't get paint everywhere is stressful. And I hate having to like pick up and clean and move everything and then set everything back out as soon as I start to feel kind of creative again. So I'm like stuck. But crochet, this is my thing right now. So probably gonna do some stuff. What it all started with was a couple of years ago. I was visiting my boyfriend here before I moved in, and at the time Joann's was still open and they had a Woobles kit, so I got the kit to make Howard the Yeti, and he took me like 2 years to make. Not that I was consistently doing it at all. I was getting really frustrated trying to figure him out. And yeah, like I think he was just a white ball for a very long time. And then he was a white ball with a blue patch and some eyeballs, no mouth or anything. And then I finally did the rest of his stuff for him, so he looks okay. But I was really disappointed because the little arms did not wind up on the same row. The ears turned out okay, or little horns, or whatever the heck these are. But I was very upset with how bad the arms turned out. So I didn't touch crochet for a while, and then it was March this year in 2026, and the world is crazy right now. If you're watching this in the future, just skim the history book of 2026, especially the very beginning of it, and you might understand where my freaking head's been. So I was like, I need to do something, and I was trying diamond painting and some like needlework stuff and whatever, and like the needlework was kind of satisfying because you do get to stab things a lot, but they take a long time to get done, and it's like one of those things where you get like a tiny little patch done and your fingers hurt from like pinching this little needle forever, and I'm like, I need something that works a little bit faster but also kind of stabby. So crochet, picked it back up again. So the next one that I made, I think, was this guy. Is another Woobles kit. I don't remember which one. It was one my friend shared. Probably should not have, but did. But I'd bought somewhere like the colors of beginner yarn on Amazon that was like the same kind of like t-shirt yarn stuff they use in the Woobles-ish. Not quite the same quality, but cheaper. So I made this little guy. They're cute. I'm not a huge fan of the pom-pom tail, mostly because you pull on it, it's coming out. I did it as tight as I could. Pom-poms are volatile, but I thought they turned out really cute. And then I made this little guy. I think this one's Pierre, also in not quite the right yarn, but I had the same problem with the little arms. They're not quite right. I don't have Ami sticks yet. And then one of my friends really liked the bunny that I made, so I made another bunny in purple. I like the purple a lot better. Purple's cute. I think the pom-pom turned out cuter too. Just a little bit. And then I made not a Wooble for the first time, but with the same yarn, I made a frog from a pattern I got off of Etsy. I'll put it down in the description. I don't remember it off the top of my head. But he's cute. He's a little, like, I like how hamburger sized he feels in my hands. I don't think I stuffed him enough. Still learning that. But I didn't like the placement of the feet as much. I didn't have enough yarn to do his other arm. So I gave him a little, I just tied a piece of yarn across here to make it look like he lost it, like a little scar. But it kind of ties in with a NPC character from a tabletop game my boyfriend ran for us, so it made me happy. But I don't like where his little feet are because it kind of makes him awkward. He falls over. But I like his little grumpy face that I did. He just turned out really cute. I should have probably given him bigger eyes. These look like weird, but that was what I had at the time. And the one I made after that was another Wooble from another pattern my friend gave me, but this was the little Axolotl. The little fins don't stay fanned out very much, but I thought they were cute. I don't remember what that one's name was either because I don't have the actual kit. And then after that, I was working on Granny Stitch Rectangle, which I'll insert a clip of if I remember. But I was trying to figure that out because I had all this like crappy old, like literally vintage Red Heart yarn. I might have picked it up from a thrift store or something at some point. I don't know. I just had purple and pink yarn from something. I'm pretty sure I didn't buy it because I don't like pink. Well, you know, Axolotl's cute because it's pink, but I don't really like intentionally go out to buy pink, and had pink. So I made a granny rectangle. Don't lick me, get out of here. And that thing did not turn out very good. I made like one that was about this big. That was a hot mess, but I was still trying to figure out the like starting chaining was difficult for me because I was just doing everything in the round pretty much up until then. So I made like this little teeny tiny granny rectangle thing. I have no idea where it is right now, but it's a hot mess. I kept it. It's somewhere in one of my bags, but it was a hot mess. The second one I made, I just alternated between the pink and the purple and made one that was like cat blanket sized. I lay it on top of something over in the window, and the cats sleep on it. It collects cat hair and I can wash it, and if it gets destroyed in the washer, which I don't think it will because everybody says that Red Heart washes better than it was when it first came out of the ball, but you know, it's a thing. It was practice. But I made the bigger version in better yarn and that's my one that's from my clip, my big blanket that I quite often have on my lap to keep sort of warm but not overheated because I'm a human polar bear. So this is the second really big thing that's like tentatively done, or at least it's done enough to be usable for now. But this is a granny rectangle blanket, and I made it with the Lion Brand homespun, mostly in Edwardian and black. I have no idea what the blue was called because I bought it like 10 plus years ago, and at the time I did not care enough to save the label whenever I took it off, so I didn't know how to crochet. I was just using it for doll hair, so this was what was left over. And there's like, yeah, like this corner I finished in temporarily, at least, in a piece of Edwardian. It has so much cat hair because I've been using it. But I left the tails out so I can snip this off and replace it with black later, so I can do hopefully couple more rounds of black to make the border thicker. And if I can find a blue in their line that'll work to sort of match this one, then I might add a little bit of that into the edge just to try to tie the blue in. But this is one of those like kind of weird wavy yarns that's like there's not really a whole lot of other ones. Like I checked Yarn Sub. There's not really a whole lot of other ones with the same like weight and texture that are going to like replace it. So it kind of has to be homespun. And the other blues they got are just, they're different. They're not the same. I have no idea what it is. I tried to find it, but nope. But yeah, this was like, the initial one was like up to here with basically 2 balls. Most of the blue that was left over, and the gray I'd like barely used any of it. And then I think I've put in another like 8 skeins or whatever into it. It's a lot. It is not cheap. But I really like the texture of this yarn because it hides your sins, which is great as a crochet noob. But also it's kind of hard to like see your stitches and stuff, so you kind of have to feel it. But when you're doing something like granny stitch, it's not too bad. This is really fun. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorites. I like to just drape this on my lap. Oh my god, it's so heavy. It is just a lot of weighted blanket. But it's very holy, so I'm not like dying as a, you know, human polar bear. And then one of the next things I was learning how to do was I really wanted to try out the waffle stitch, because I saw, I think it was Elise Rose, maybe I'm not remembering correctly, but she was like going over a bunch of different crochet stitches that she thought were really fun to do. So I found a tutorial to do the waffle stitch, and I've been a little bit obsessed. So like I made a bunch of them that didn't have this little tag. I basically had ordered more yarn with the intent to make more amigurumi, but I was not paying attention because I'm a crochet noob and ordered a bunch of cotton, mostly in this green, which wouldn't have been a very good green for amigurumi anyway, because it's kind of dark, and a lot of my other stuff is also dark, so it should be very dark, not a whole lot of contrast. But it works really nicely for washcloths that have this really fun dimension to them. So I made a lot of these. Like, here's a stack. One of them's missing because I was actually using it to wash stuff. And I also got some other cotton from a Mary Maxim mystery bag, made more in red. And then I still have, because also when I bought the green, I bought the same amount in white, in cotton, because I'm really, really good at reading. And I've only made one of these so far, but I have a whole bunch more cotton to work on. And that's kind of like one of my things I do when I'm trying to pay attention to something like tabletop or whatever, and just need to do something with my hands. It's not very much think. And yeah, waffle stitch, like once you've kind of got the pattern in your head, it's super simple to just kind of sit there and do. So my poor friends at Christmas are going to get so many washcloths that they don't need. But it's kind of funny that they're all kind of in Christmas colors, just how the cookie crumbled. I tried making another amigurumi after I'd started on my green washcloth thing. This is covered in cat hair. I didn't feel like fixing it, but it doesn't look like the pattern. I don't know. I don't think it was an AI pattern. I know I followed it to a T. I had started it in a purple yarn, and then realized I wasn't going to have enough of that. So I scrapped that head. It's somewhere else. I'll figure out something else to do with it later. But I basically, as soon as I like was just trying to make the other ears, I made one ear and then the other ear was just not long enough. And then I was like, oh, I don't have anything else in this terrible red heart yarn. It's really scratchy. I don't like red heart. My hands were very uncomfortable. But this is just some Mary Maxim anti-pill acrylic, anti-pill worsted. But he turned out a little scary. I think it's just the eyes, but also like the head to body ratio is dramatically different than what the pattern said it was going to be. And I know I followed it to a T. Like, I wrote down everything that I did. I triple checked. So at some point, I'm either going to frog out of the part of the head or the body and add to it or something. Because you need his proportions hurt my brain. But he's just been sitting on my desk collecting cat hair because I haven't figured out what to do with him. My friends love him. And my boyfriend thinks he's cute. He haunts my nightmares. Anyway, one of the other things I got in the Mary Maxim mystery bag, because I think those are really fun, was some chenille. So this is my first chenille thing I got to play with. So I made a loaf cat. That turned out huge. I didn't think it was going to be this big, but here it is. And this was just 2 balls of the Premier Palm Party. I think it might have been XL. I don't know. It's cute. I love him. He's like a little loaf of bread. I had to like frog a couple of rows out of the middle and made the tail a little shorter than the pattern wanted. This was from a YouTube tutorial, if I remember. I'll try to link it down below. If not, somebody can remind me if they really want the pattern. But I really like this. One thing I definitely learned with this, aside from the trials and tribulations of chenille, was that I should have used a smaller hook, because I can stick my fingers in all of these holes. Like, you don't see it so much because it's fluffy, but I think over time it's going to be very obvious. So this is not really one that I can like give away to somebody's kid, even though it doesn't have safety eyes, because they're going to be pulling the stuffing out. But it's cute. I enjoy it. It's a nice little thing if you just need like something to rest. You can use it as a pillow. He's nice. And then I made my most complicated amigurumi yet was Mr. Squid. He's from a book. They call him Mr. Squid in the book. Okay, so don't judge me. I know it's Cthulhu. But he's from a funny amigurumi book that I got off of a Humble Bundle. And I don't know if I made this one again, I don't think I'd do the color change on the bottom. I'd figure out some other way to do the bottom or some other way to do the sides, because like these tentacles were the hardest part down here. These guys. Only because you created this bottom part first, which wasn't too bad. You had to like stop and do each one of these things out from the bottom, which was a lot. But actually sewing into them from the top, you basically like started at the tip and then start crocheting this color out along each tentacle and stop, and then have to like go in between and go around and increase and whatever. He was difficult, and they didn't do, you're not gonna really be able to see it very well, but like underneath his little face tentacles you can see the yarn, or not the yarn, the stuffing, because they didn't do any like sort of front loop or back loop situation with his tentacles. It was just, you were doing them and kind of staggering them, and like these were actually pretty easy. But when you were doing like the first row, pretty easy. Second row, when you're supposed to be like working into the underside of these, basically, not so easy. Because you didn't really have like a loop, so I was like skipping ones and the count got a little funky. Wasn't a huge fan of how they did that. I think if they had like marked it out like a front loop, back loop thing, and you had to like mark it with stitch markers or something, that would have been way easier, but it was a book. So that might have been a lot of pictures and difficulty to try to convey. But I figured it out, so I guess they figured people will just figure it out. His tie was supposed to be 2 layers of this. I didn't feel like doing 2 layers. So I just did 1 layer and then stitched around it and made the little... I was lazy. After doing all of these tentacles, I was lazy. But I think he turned out okay. I did attempt to make the book. That got scrapped. Making a little tiny book in crochet, not easy. Not easy at all. But I think he's adorable. His head got put on a little crooked, but I think it adds so much character. He just he looks a little off to the side, like, hey guy, have you thought about our dork lord today? So it's really funny because I usually have him sitting off like on this little shelf thing over here. So he's kind of like looking at my screen, like he's watching my YouTube videos with me. He's really cute, but I like him a lot. And aside from the big blanket, I made the Chalina shawl. It's like Chevron shawl from Back a Day, which I'll also insert a clip unless I forget horribly. And that thing is like the biggest finished thing I've made so far. I love it so much. Yeah, that thing is the best. It's probably a little too warm right now because it's like May and I made it in really thick, big, heavy yarn, but it's so pretty and it's so heavy and it's so comfortable and I love it. It was worth the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it. So this is like the first big crochet piece that I've completed since I've started actually crocheting, not just Woobles, and I'm kind of obsessed with it. I wound up using 8 balls of the Lion brand mandala ombre in the colorway Cool because I just really like the like gray and kind of bluish gray to the white fade. And like as you can see, it got the color striping got real tight at the end. But I just think it's really nice. It's big like a blanket. I'm not a small person, so a little tiny shawl would have been not super beneficial for me, but this is a cool pattern. The Chalina Chevron shawl designed by Bag O' Day, which is nice because you can kind of make it bigger or smaller depending on how much yarn you got and want to put into it. And I'm definitely going to make more in this pattern, just in other yarn, because 8 balls of that particular yarn, not cheap at all. And this is actually really heavy. Like, I like it heavy for this one because I like the weighted blanket kind of feel, but if you're gonna do something and like actually wear this out and about places and don't want to have to carry around something heavy the whole time, a lighter yarn would definitely be better for this. I used like I think this was like a 4, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. I have to check. But it's pretty. I'm happy with it. I feel like a bat. I want to make a black one so I can be a bigger bat. What I'm working on currently is my boyfriend wanted a a hat for his cat, who was definitely not going to enjoy it. But my dad sent me all of this yarn that came in like a whole bunch of these really tiny little acrylic skeins. Like they were mini skeins. He was really cute and thought he was getting me a whole bunch of yarn at some great discount. It was a whole lot of colors, not a whole lot of yarn. They're really small. Like they're like maybe not even 25 grams of yarn in each one. They're really small, and they came in like a vacuum pack thing, which just like stacked. And so it all came in like one of those bubble mailers, and I legit thought that somebody had sent me a book, and I was like, what is this? And I was just staring at this package, waiting to open it for a hot minute, being like, did I order something? And I hadn't ordered anything, so I don't know where it came from. It was just... And then my dad was like, I ordered you yarn. And I was like, oh dear. But it's, you know, I can make stuff with it. It'll just be small stuff. And, you know, not things you really want to snuggle, because it's definitely the scratchy acrylic that has like something coating it to try to make it sort of soft. It's not. So like a cat hat that they're going to wear maybe one time for a giggle, that's fine. The cat will probably destroy it in the process of us putting it on here, but it's like, I got it, I don't know, I'll tell you about it maybe if it doesn't get utterly destroyed before I can attempt to. But it has like these like big pointed kind of clown ears, and then like kind of a ribbed collar thing for it. It's like a hood. And I got like a more pointed kind of clown collar one that's totally separate that I'm going to make probably for her and a couple of the other cats. Because I feel like they'll tolerate a fancy collar more than a hat. It's less, they're used to wearing collars. Most of them are used to wearing collars. A hat though, every time I've put a hat on any of my cats, they have just utterly internal combustion. Just like, nope, I'm done. I'm flopping. I'm staring at you like, why would you do this to me? Yeah, that's pretty funny. And the other thing, aside from more Waffle Stitch rags, I'm working on a one of those bouquet blankets, and I have dramatically miscalculated how much yarn I needed for it. Thankfully, dramatically in the I bought too much rather than the I bought too little. But I bought like 7 balls of yarn for it, and it probably only really needs like 4. So on the bright side, I can probably make another one. Maybe. I might have to buy a couple more colors of the parts to make the like flowery bits, but at least the like main beige part, I might be able to make another one. It might be smaller, but it'll be at least the lap size, which is okay. But boy, am I tired of looking at beige. I settled on the beige color because my dad and I were talking about it. We were like, what color should we try to do the like main part of the blanket with? And like most of the patterns, it's like a yellow or a beige or an off-white kind of situation, because they wanted to go with a like paper wrapping around a flower bouquet kind of vibe. And I was like, we could do something else. And then we were talking about like the decor in my stepmom's living room and whatnot. It has a lot of beige, so it'll fit. It'll fit in there. Yeah, it'll fit with the beige. It's just when you've gone through 3 balls of beige doing like the same double crochet stitch for the last like 3 or 4 days, I'm a little over it. I have about like 2/3 of a ball left on this thing, so I can finally switch into working with the green, and then I'm doing one that has like sunflowers and daisies. It'll be really cute. I'll catch up with this whenever I have it done so I can actually show. But yeah, beige. Hurts my little goth brain. It really does. But yeah, that's where I've come from. I came from this is pretty much everything I've shown you and talked about has been me in the last 3 months. Trying to keep sane. It's working out really well, actually. Like, I am a high anxiety human. And like usually I'm like clenched teeth and jumping from show to movie to game, multitasking to try to keep myself from combusting. And this has worked out really well. Like, it's my every day I get my work done in the morning and I'm like, okay, I want to crochet. I don't like, unless I'm really, really annoyed in whatever project I'm working on, then maybe I'll go pick something else up, like, which will usually be like one of the easy little comfort projects. But thankfully it's like, I enjoy having something useful, because otherwise I'm just sitting here playing with fidget toys, which is kind of just a waste of time. Like, I'm not judging anybody that plays with fidget toys. Like, they have their purpose. But like, if I'm gonna be sitting here doing something with my hands anyway, or getting distracted doing something anyway, doing something that actually like produces a thing is nice. And it's not just doodling where I get really grr with my skills or lack thereof, kind of, or the thing not turning out the way that my brain has invented it in my mind's eye. And yeah, so I have tons of yarn to play with right now, because I've gotten so far 2 of the Mary Maxim mystery yarn packs, which have been really fun to like just kind of explore things that I would not have, or maybe would not have gotten on my own, just because I'm poor. Yarn is kind of expensive. It's really fun, but it's also kind of expensive for me, and I get to try out a lot of things that are really like good low price with the mystery pack, which is super nice. Some of the things are like probably getting discontinued, like the pom party for the cat, this with the fancy colors, which is kind of sad because it's cute. I really like it. Like, but some of the other things are just kind of like colors that weren't selling out super good or whatever. So I have some stuff. I have ideas. It's like a fun little challenge to try to like make something with all the things. But also I want to make more. I want to make like a mesh top, and I have like patterns for socks and little leg warmers, and I had made a headband. I made a headband. I took it apart. I had made it, and it fit. It was okay, but it was just slightly too loose, that I knew that like if I wore this maybe 1 or 2 more times, it was just going to slide off of my head. I made it too long. It was like one of the like twisty wrap ones. I forget whose pattern it was. But it was super easy. I worked it up in like one afternoon. I'll make another one, probably in a different yarn, because that one I used the same yarn as like this gray, which this is Paint Box DK, I think, Simply DK, which is like a good value yarn for like amigurumi and stuff, but I don't know if it's really that great for something you wear or use a lot, because it does pill. Like, you can probably tell on the tentacles more, because they've gotten a lot more. It's got a little bit more of a fluff halo. It's kind of hard to tell, but I could definitely tell on the headband though. It's like the more it was like getting friction from getting twisted around and put on my head and whatever, it was going to get really pilly and drive me crazy. So we'll see what I have left over in my things once I make some of the bigger stuff, and maybe I'll make another headband. But that was cute. See, well, I'm busy. somebody wants attention, so I think I need to end this video. But it's a lot of rambling anyway. But yeah, I'm really enjoying crochet. I think I'm going to keep doing this. I have so many ideas and plans for things I want to try and make for friends and family. I keep getting encouraged to like make an Etsy shop or whatever, but I'm not super good at doing things that I have not seen other people do, so I can like imagine myself doing it. I'll keep working on it. But you know, it'd be fun to do the shawls or something for people, because I know a lot of folks don't like using black yarn because they can't see it very well, but I have a neck lamp and I like looking at black yarn, so I think I could do that, and then everybody can have, well, not everybody, but some people can have witchy little shawls. And sometimes you just need a witchy little shawl to complete an outfit. But yeah, I'm gonna go give this little jerk some attention, and I will make another video, hopefully. See ya. Oh, thank you for being here. Attention is currency, and I'm so glad you spent some of it with me here today. Bye.